My beloved child, wait, don't rush past this moment. Something gentle is trying to reach you, and if you listen closely, you may begin to feel it, not as a sound, not as a voice, but as a quiet shift within your own heart. There is a presence you once knew, not in the way the world defines knowing, but in a deeper, almost unexplainable sense. A familiarity that doesn't come from memory alone, but from connection. And today, something about that connection is stirring again. Pause for a second, have you noticed it? That subtle feeling, like something is trying to get your attention, but not in a loud or demanding way. It doesn't interrupt your day. It doesn't force itself into your thoughts. Instead, it waits, patiently, softly, almost like it trusts that you will eventually notice. And this is where everything begins to shift. Because what you are sensing isn't random. It isn't imagination. It isn't just your mind wandering through old emotions. There is meaning in this moment, but it reveals itself slowly, only to those who stay present long enough to receive it. Stay a little longer, don't skip ahead. There was a time when this presence felt closer to you. Maybe you didn't fully understand it back then. Maybe it felt ordinary, like just another part of your life. But now, looking back, something about it feels different, doesn't it? Almost like you missed something. Or maybe, something is returning. Take a breath, and think carefully. Have you recently felt a sudden calm for no clear reason? Or a memory that appeared out of nowhere, not heavy or painful, just quietly present? Or perhaps a feeling of being understood, even when no one around you said a word? These are not coincidences. They are small openings, moments where something deeper touches your awareness, just enough for you to notice, but not enough to overwhelm you. Because this isn't meant to shock you. It's meant to guide you. And here's the part most people overlook. This presence doesn't come back the way people expect. It doesn't arrive with noise or certainty. It doesn't explain itself in clear words. Instead, it moves through subtlety, through feeling, through timing. And today, the timing matters. Something important is waiting for you to notice, not outside, not somewhere far away, but within your own awareness. Listen carefully. There is a reason your attention was drawn here. A reason you didn't scroll past. A reason something inside you paused, even if just for a second. That pause, that hesitation, that quiet curiosity. That's where the message begins. But it doesn't reveal itself all at once. Because if it did, you might miss the depth of it. So instead, it unfolds slowly, layer by layer, like a memory that was never fully gone, only waiting for the right moment to be felt again. And that moment is closer than you think. Now, let's go deeper. What if the presence you once knew never truly left? What if it simply stepped back, allowing you to grow, to experience, to become who you are now, so that when this moment arrived, you would be able to understand it in a completely different way? Because you are not the same person you were before. You see things differently now. You feel things more deeply now. And that changes everything. Because now, you are ready to notice what you couldn't before. And this is where something quietly powerful begins to happen. You start to realize that this connection was never about the past alone. It was always leading toward this moment. A moment where you begin to see beyond what is visible, where you start to trust what you feel, even if you can't fully explain it yet. Stay with this feeling. Don't try to rush it. There's something forming here, something that becomes clearer the longer you remain present with it. And here's the surprising part. This presence doesn't want anything from you. It's not here to demand, to control, or to change your path forcefully. It's here to remind you. To gently guide your attention toward something you were meant to notice today. Something small, but meaningful. Something simple, but deeply connected to where your life is heading next. Have you noticed how certain thoughts have been repeating lately? Not in a loud or overwhelming way, but quietly, almost like a whisper you can't quite ignore. There's a reason for that. Because sometimes, the most important messages don't arrive as answers. They arrive as awareness. And awareness changes everything. Now pause again, just for a moment. What is one thing that has been on your mind recently, not with pressure, but with a strange sense of calm curiosity? That's where you need to look, because that's where this presence is gently pointing you. Not directly, not obviously, but just enough for you to notice, if you're willing to see it. And this is where many people miss the moment. They expect something dramatic, something undeniable, something that proves itself instantly. But what's happening here is different. It's subtle, intentional, and deeply personal. It meets you exactly where you are, in a way only you can recognize. And that's why it feels so quiet, so easy to overlook, yet so meaningful once you truly notice it. Stay till the end, because something important is waiting for you in this realization. You are not being pulled backward. You are being gently aligned forward. This presence, this connection, this feeling. It's not here to bring you back to what was. It's here to help you see what's becoming. And when you begin to understand that, everything shifts. Because suddenly, the past doesn't feel heavy anymore. It feels purposeful. Like every moment, every experience, every connection was quietly guiding you toward this exact point. And now, you're here, aware, present, ready to notice what you couldn't before. But there's one more layer to this. And this is where it becomes truly meaningful. The presence you feel. It recognizes you, not the version of you from before, but the version of you right now, stronger, wiser, more aware. And that's why this moment is happening now, and not earlier. Because now, you can receive it. Now, you can understand it. Now, you can see what it's gently trying to show you. But what exactly is it asking you to notice? That answer is already beginning to form inside you, not as a clear sentence, but as a feeling, a direction, a quiet knowing that doesn't need to be explained. And if you stay with that feeling just a little longer, if you don't rush away from it, you might start to realize something unexpected. Something that changes the way you see this entire moment. And maybe, even the way you see yourself. But that realization is just beginning. And what comes next will make everything even clearer. And yet, something in you already knows this isn't over, doesn't it? Because that quiet feeling didn't fade after a few seconds. It lingered. It stayed just beneath the surface, like a soft echo that refuses to disappear, not because it's loud, but because it's real. Let yourself sit with that for a moment. What if this presence isn't just reaching out? What if it's responding? Responding to something within you that has changed, something you may not have even fully noticed yet. Because lately, you haven't been the same. There's been a shift, subtle, almost invisible to others, but deeply real to you. The way you think, the way you pause before reacting, the way certain things no longer affect you the way they once did. That change didn't go unnoticed. And this is where the connection deepens. Because what you're experiencing right now is not just a reminder of the past. It's a recognition of who you've become. Stay with this, don't let your mind rush ahead. There's something unfolding here that can only be felt in stillness. You see, when a presence like this reaches toward you, it doesn't do so randomly. It aligns with a moment, a state of awareness, a readiness. And you've reached that point. Not perfectly, not completely, but enough. Enough to notice. Enough to receive. Enough to begin understanding. Now pause again, just briefly. Have you felt a quiet sense of clarity lately, even in moments where nothing around you has changed? A kind of inner steadiness that wasn't there before? That's not accidental. That's the space where this connection becomes visible, not to your eyes, but to your awareness. Because the truth is, this presence has always been there. But before now, there was too much noise, too many distractions, too many moments where your attention was pulled away from what truly mattered. And so, it waited, not in absence, but in patience. And now, something has shifted enough for you to begin noticing again. This is the turning point. Not dramatic, not overwhelming, but deeply significant. Because once you begin to notice, you cannot go back to not seeing. And that's why this moment feels different. There's a quiet realization forming, something you can't quite explain yet, but you can feel it building. Like a piece of understanding that's just out of reach, but getting closer with every second you stay present. Stay a little longer. You might miss the turning point if you rush past this, because here's what most people don't realize. When something important is meant to reach you, it doesn't arrive all at once. It reveals itself in layers. And right now, you've only touched the surface. There's more beneath this feeling. Much more. Now consider this. What if the presence you once knew is not trying to bring you a message in words, but in awareness? Not telling you what to do, but helping you see what you've been overlooking? Because sometimes, the most meaningful guidance doesn't come as instructions. It comes as clarity. And clarity feels different. It doesn't push. It doesn't confuse. It simply settles, quietly, until you recognize it. And maybe, just maybe, that's what's happening right now. Think about the last few days. Has there been a moment, small, almost forgettable, where something felt slightly different? A conversation that stayed with you longer than expected. A thought that returned when everything else went quiet. A feeling that didn't demand attention, but gently asked for it? That's where you need to look, because that's where this presence is meeting you. Not in something big, not in something obvious, but in something subtle, and perfectly timed. And this is where it becomes deeply personal. Because no one else will notice it the way you do. No one else will feel it in the exact same way. Because this moment is meant for you. Only you. Now take a breath. There's something else you need to understand. This presence isn't here to hold you in the past. It's not here to remind you of what was lost, or what could have been. It's here to show you something about now. About this exact point in your life. This version of you. This direction you're moving in. And that's why it feels so calm. So grounded, so different from anything that tries to pull you backward. Because this isn't about going back. It's about moving forward, with a deeper awareness than before. And here's where something quietly powerful begins to reveal itself. You're not alone in this moment. Not in the way people usually mean it. But in a deeper, more unspoken sense. There is a connection here. One that doesn't rely on constant presence, constant communication, or constant understanding. It exists beyond all of that. And today, you're beginning to feel it again. Not fully, not completely, but enough to recognize that it's real. And that recognition changes something inside you. Because once you feel that kind of connection, you start to trust your own awareness more. You start to listen differently. You start to notice things you once overlooked. And slowly, your entire perspective begins to shift. But here's the part you might not expect. This is only the beginning. What you're feeling right now, this quiet awareness, this gentle connection, it's leading somewhere, not in a rushed or forceful way, but in a way that unfolds naturally, as you continue to notice, to feel, to stay present. And if you continue to follow that awareness, if you don't ignore it, if you don't dismiss it as nothing, you will begin to see something even clearer. Something that connects everything you've been feeling, everything you've been noticing, everything that has quietly led you to this moment. But that clarity, it doesn't arrive instantly. It builds, it forms, it reveals itself step by step, as you're ready to receive it. So don't rush, don't force understanding, just stay with this feeling a little longer. Because what comes next will begin to show you exactly why this presence reached you today, and what it's gently guiding you to see. And now, something begins to feel different in a way you can't quite put into words, as if the space around your thoughts has become quieter, clearer, almost like something is preparing to be seen. Don't move away from that feeling. This is where the deeper layer starts to reveal itself. Because what you're sensing right now isn't just awareness anymore, it's alignment. A soft, almost invisible alignment between what you've been feeling, and what has been quietly trying to reach you. Pause here, just for a second. Have you noticed how certain moments recently felt more meaningful than they should have? Not dramatic, not overwhelming. Just slightly more real. Like something behind the moment was trying to get your attention. That's not something you imagined. That's where the connection is becoming clearer. And this is where everything gently shifts again. Because now, it's no longer just about feeling a presence. It's about recognizing what that presence is guiding you toward. Stay with me, don't let your thoughts drift away. There's something important forming here. You see, when something meaningful reaches you like this, it doesn't point randomly. It points with intention. And right now, it's pointing you towards something you've been quietly overlooking, not ignoring, just not fully seeing. Something simple, yet deeply connected to your path. Think carefully. What is one thing in your life right now that feels almost ready? Not finished, not complete, but close. Like it's waiting for one small shift, one moment of clarity, one decision that hasn't been made yet. That's where your attention is being guided. And this is the part where many people hesitate. Because it feels subtle. It doesn't demand action. It doesn't create urgency. It simply waits. And waiting requires awareness. It requires you to slow down enough to actually see what's in front of you. And that's exactly what this presence is helping you do. Not pushing you forward, but helping you notice where you already are. Now take a deeper breath. Because what comes next is something you might not expect. This presence, this connection. It's not just guiding your awareness. It's also reflecting something back to you. Something about yourself that you may not have fully recognized yet. Look closely. There is a quiet strength in you now that wasn't there before. Not loud, not forceful, but steady, calm, unshaken. And this strength is part of why this moment is happening now. Because without it, you might have missed this entirely. You might have overlooked it, dismissed it, moved past it without a second thought. But now, you're noticing, and that changes everything. Stay a little longer. You're closer to understanding than you think. Because here's the truth that's beginning to unfold. The presence you feel is not separate from your journey. It's connected to it. It's part of the path that has been shaping you, guiding you, preparing you, not in a way that controls you, but in a way that aligns with you. And alignment feels different. It doesn't create confusion. It doesn't bring pressure. It brings clarity, but gently, like something becoming visible in soft light, instead of being forced into view. And now, that light is getting a little stronger. You might start to notice it in small ways. A decision that suddenly feels clearer. A direction that feels more natural. A feeling of calm where there used to be uncertainty. These are not random changes. They are part of the unfolding, part of what this moment is leading you toward. And here's something even deeper. This presence isn't trying to show you something new. It's helping you see something that has been there all along, something you've already felt, already sensed, already known, deep down. But now, you're ready to recognize it. And recognition is powerful, because once you truly recognize something, you can't ignore it anymore. You can't unsee it. You can't go back to the way things felt before. And that's why this moment matters. Because it marks a quiet shift, a turning point that doesn't need to announce itself, but changes everything moving forward. Now pause again. What is becoming clearer to you right now? Not in words, but in feeling. There's something there. Something forming just beneath the surface of your awareness. And if you stay with it just a little longer, if you don't rush away, you'll begin to see it more clearly. Because this is where the message truly begins to take shape. Not as something told to you, but as something revealed within you. And this is the most important part. Because what you discover here will not feel like something external. It will feel like something you've always known, finally coming into focus. And when that happens, everything begins to align differently. Your thoughts, your decisions, your sense of direction. All of it starts to shift, quietly, naturally, without force. And that's when you realize this presence didn't come to change your path. It came to help you see it, clearly, fully, without doubt. But there's still one more layer. One final piece that hasn't fully revealed itself yet. And this part, it's the reason everything has been unfolding this way. The reason this feeling appeared now. The reason your awareness shifted. The reason you paused instead of moving on. That piece is about to become clearer. And when it does, you will understand not just what you're feeling, but why it reached you today, and what it's quietly preparing you for next. And just as you begin to feel that quiet clarity settling in, something even deeper starts to rise, not loudly, not suddenly, but like a realization that has been waiting for the exact moment you were ready to receive it. Stay here, don't rush this part, because this is where everything gently connects. You felt the presence, you've noticed the shift, you've sensed the alignment, but now, something within you is beginning to understand why. Not in a fully formed thought, not in a clear sentence, but as a knowing, a calm, steady knowing that doesn't need to explain itself to be true. Pause for a moment. What if this entire experience, this feeling, this awareness, this quiet unfolding, was never about something outside of you reaching in? What if it was also about something within you, finally opening? Because there is a part of you, subtle, often overlooked, that has been growing quietly beneath everything else, not demanding attention, not asking to be seen. Just becoming. And now, it's ready to be noticed. That's why this moment feels so personal, so specific, so impossible to fully explain to anyone else. Because it's not meant to be understood by everyone. It's meant to be felt by you. And here's where the realization deepens. The presence you once knew, the connection you feel. It's not just reminding you of something. It's reflecting you back to yourself. Not the version shaped by doubt or confusion, but the version of you that is clear, steady, aware. And that reflection is powerful, because when you begin to see yourself in that way, everything changes. Your choices begin to shift, your reactions soften, your direction becomes more intentional, even without effort. Stay a little longer. There's something important unfolding right now, because what you're starting to recognize is this. You were never disconnected. You were only distracted. And now, that distraction is fading. Slowly, gently, naturally. Making space for something much clearer to come through. Now take a breath. And notice this. There is less resistance in you than before. Less confusion, less need to force answers. Instead, there's a quiet openness, a willingness to simply notice, to observe, to allow things to reveal themselves without pressure. And that openness. That's what this presence was waiting for. Not perfection, not certainty, just openness. Because openness allows clarity to enter. And clarity is what changes everything. Now here's the part that brings it all together. What you are being guided to notice today is not a person, not a memory, not even a specific moment. It's a shift in how you see something that has been in your life for a while now. Something you may have been unsure about. Something you may have questioned. Something that never fully felt settled. And now, it's beginning to make sense. Not all at once, but enough to feel the difference. Enough to recognize that something inside you has changed. And that change is what allows everything else to align. Stay with this feeling, because it's leading you somewhere important. You might begin to notice it in the way certain answers feel easier. The way certain doubts no longer hold the same weight. The way a quiet confidence begins to replace uncertainty. That's not something you're forcing. That's something you're allowing. And allowing is where real change begins. Now pause again. There's one more realization waiting just beneath the surface. Something simple, yet deeply meaningful. You don't need to search for it. You don't need to figure it out. It's already there. You just need to notice it. Because what this presence has been guiding you toward is not a message to follow, but a truth to recognize. A truth that has always been part of you, even when you couldn't fully see it. And now, you're beginning to see it. Not clearly yet, but enough to feel it. Enough to trust it. Enough to know that something real is unfolding. And this is where the journey quietly transforms. From something you were trying to understand, into something you are beginning to experience, fully, calmly, without resistance. But there is still one final layer. One last piece that brings everything into complete clarity. And this part. It's not something that will surprise you. It's something that will feel familiar, almost like you've known it all along, but only now are ready to accept it. So stay just a little longer. Because what comes next will not just explain this moment. It will show you what to do with it.